Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to this week's roundup. I say this week's like these are going out every week, but it's been a while since the last one, so they've hardly been regular. But anyway, let's not get into that too much. Let's kick things off with some news that broke this morning, but news that's probably not going to come as too much of a surprise to anybody. Aston Martin has confirmed its driver lineup for 2022, and as very much expected, they will be sticking with Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll. Now, there have been some speculation doing the rounds that there might be a change at the team for next season, some outlets even going as far as to claim that Fernando Alonso had been offered a deal to replace Vettel. Yeah. But all that nonsense has been put to bed now thanks to this announcement. It's really been a pretty mad, silly season, hasn't it? In the team's press release, Vettel says that he believes in the strength of Aston Martin's growing team and is looking forward to getting behind the wheel of next year's new cars, adding, "Their look is very different and the new technical regulations should give us cars that can race much more closely than recently. More exciting racing will be great for the drivers as well as for the fans. The changes are so big that every team will be starting from a new beginning, so it will be a great opportunity for us." And his teammate Lance Stroll is looking forward to next season as well, obviously, and believes that the team is well positioned to move forward in 2022, admitting though at the same time that the team, quote, "have not achieved what we set out to do this year," and explained that that has, again, quote, "amplified our hunger and drive for success next season." So with Aston Martin tying down its drivers for 2022 and Haas expected to do the same very soon, it's all eyes on that second seat at Alpha, and once that's sorted, we will have our final grid for the first season of F1's new era. Moving on, and Alpine's Marcin Budkowski has admitted that when it comes to getting young talent into F1 next season, the team needs to find a compromise for its academy drivers. The team has yet to produce a full-time F1 driver from its academy, and that won't change in 2022 as both Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon are staying put. And that has left question marks around the futures of the likes of Oscar Piastri and Guan Yu Zhou, among others, and if or even when they will get a chance in F1. Budkowski says that the problem Alpine is facing is that their young drivers are maturing at the same time, but with no seats available for them at the team right now, a compromise will have to be reached elsewhere. The success of the academy is also judged by its output. If your academy never gets a driver in Formula One, then you've wasted your time and your money in supporting these drivers. So in one way, running a successful academy is getting them to Formula One. On the other hand, we're doing this to develop the drivers we're going to use at Alpine, but at the moment we don't have a seat free. We don't want to stand in the way of the drivers. Equally, we don't want to lose them from our pool, so that is the compromise you have to reach. So what kind of compromise could we be talking about here? Well, look at Alex Albon and his move to Williams as an example. He is, next season, a Williams driver, but he still holds links to Red Bull and they have options available to bring him back into the fold if needed in the future. So perhaps, and the rumours seem to suggest that this could be the case, Alpine could look for a similar agreement with Alfa Romeo for one of the academy drivers to land a seat for next season, with Guan Yu Zhou being the most likely or the front runner. Again, if we believe the rumours, I've got to say though, there can't really be too much of a rush for Alfa Romeo because they're in a very strong negotiating position, so watch this space. Away from silly season, it's time for the regular reverse grid story that crops up just about every couple of months or so. This time following a rather sedate sprint at Monza last time out to add to the far from thrilling event at Silverstone in July, F1 bosses have said that a full evaluation of the new format will take place following the third trial later this year, and Ross Brawn has also added that changes will be made for 2022. One of those changes is reportedly the possibility of it becoming a standalone event instead of deciding the grid for Sunday's race. But the question of having a reverse grid, something previously ruled out, it must be said, by Stefano Domenicali, has reared its head again. But Aston Martin's Otmar Szafnauer is not in favour of the idea. He's not alone in the paddock, believing the sport could end up on the road to becoming another Formula 2. I will support what the fans deem to be entertaining. However, I think reverse grid in Formula One is a big departure from what this sport was always about, and I personally wouldn't want us to have this sprint race on Saturday turn into a slippery slope to becoming Formula 2. If that is what the fans want, I'm wrong, let's do what the fans want. But I don't think Formula One, the pinnacle of motorsport, should start entertaining weight penalties, reverse grids, all that kind of stuff. Szafnauer also had his say on the sprint schedule we've seen this year, saying that with qualifying on a Friday afternoon, he believes Fridays are better. I tend to agree, although he did stop short of saying he thinks Saturdays are better, but added if they are, fans will get a better show in his opinion at least. Ultimately, though, we're obviously going to have to wait and see what happens after the third one, which, by the way, is currently penciled in for Brazil if that race goes ahead, and what F1 will do to shake up the format if fans, teams and drivers are not in favour of them continuing as they are. But to be honest, based on all the talk over the weekend and the fact they're already talking about the changes for 2022, I think the decision has already been taken to keep them for next season in some form with a few tweaks. But let me know in the comments, if we do have to keep these sprint races or whatever they want to call them, what changes would you make to make them more palatable or more entertaining or to add some value to the weekend? Elsewhere this week, F1 is set to push ahead with its plans to give rookies more time on track from next season. There has been a real lack of opportunities, haven't there, for young drivers in recent years, and with in-season rookie tests being scrapped for last year and this year due to the pandemic, most teams have had to run junior drivers in older cars during private sessions or tyre tests. However, from next season, the sport is planning to make every team on the grid run a young driver during a certain number of FP1 sessions, something we've heard before, of course, with Ross Brawn adding that, quote, "We have to be very careful how we define a rookie, but did say at the very least that teams would have to give a young driver a chance on a Friday." Really pleased to see this one being pushed through. George Russell believes Alex Albon will thrive at Williams next year and has admitted that he told the team who he believed will be best suited to taking his seat, and that it was, quote, "very close between Albon and Nick de Vries, with Albon's experience tipping the balance in his favour." Russell went on to describe Albon as a fantastic driver and expects the environment at Williams to suit him very well. Meanwhile, Yas Capito has said that the difference between Nicholas Latifi and George Russell is not actually as big as some people believe, explaining that Latifi, through no fault of his own, has had some issues at times this year, and had that not been the case, he would have been close to or even on Russell's pace. As an example, he pointed to the Canadian being just 0.04 of a second off the Brit come the end of Q1 in Monza. And finally, the changes to the Yas Marina circuit are well and truly underway ahead of December's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. As announced earlier this year, there are set to be major revisions, including the removal of the chicane at turns 5 and 6, the opening up of the hairpin at turn 7, with tweaks to other corners planned, and turns 11, 12, 13 and 14 being replaced by one long, sweeping, banked corner. And Yas Marina bosses shared a video of the changes over on social media after revealing that more than 50% of the planned work has now been completed, with the rest set to be done and dusted in time for the race later this year. Now, I couldn't put the video in this video, however, I have linked to it in the description down below, so check it out if you fancy having a look. I'm not going to lie, I'm weirdly really looking forward to Abu Dhabi this year. That is it for this roundup then, but you can, as always, let me know your thoughts on any of the stories featured today in the comments section down below. So, for example, do you think that Aston Martin were right to stick with Vettel and Stroll for 2022? And if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help give the channel a little bit of a boost. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.